I feel like a lot of women that I know, they don't like who likes them, right? So they get with all these guys, and it's kind of like, well, hey, listen, you know, you look at the people that you want, right?
Mhm.
You look at what they want. Are you that?
Mhm.
And if you ain't that, he don't want you. You know, like
It's
as
true.
whatever you want to try to do to get his attention, and you can, because men would play around, and if you're giving, they'll take. But it doesn't mean that he wants you. He's tolerating you.
So I noticed that the two of you guys got married at kind of different times in life. Levi, you were in your early 20s, right? I think is what you said.
I was 22.
22. And as you were
34, 33.
right. So do you
So I've
guys
been married
think
5 years.
do you think the age makes a difference? Like Levi, do you think it would have been different if you were married older? And Ez, do you think it would last if you were younger? Do you think age has anything to do with it?
It depends on the person. I can't speak for my brother over here, Levi, but I at he said 22, 23.
Mm-hmm.
I was not mentally prepared for it at all. I was out in the streets. So you couldn't change me for nothing during that age time. So for me at that time, no, I really started coming into my own late 20s, early 30s. That's when I really started being mature enough to understand other people. So for myself, no, but that's just me.
Okay. How about you, Levi?
Um, uh, I would agree that everybody's different. I would say for myself, all my friends who ask me that same question, I tell them don't get married when I did. Like I go back to, if it was not my specific wife, I would not have been married at the time I did get married. Thankfully, you know, 12 years later, I know I made the right decision because it worked out, right? Obviously. But at that age where now things are just getting later and later, people are understanding themselves, are, coming into their responsibility factor. And that's, I think, the major issue, right? There's a there's a meme that says sex is better when the bills are paid. Um
That's
that that's
hilarious.
that's a fact.
Woo!
uh you know, a lot of people are just not responsible enough to be able to support a household, right? I feel like for me, and this is my view, I don't know about everybody else's view, I feel like marriage was meant for the family structure. If you're not looking to raise a family, I don't necessarily see why people are getting married.
Mm.
If you're not trying to, have a family and do these things. If you're looking for anything else you want, you could get it not being in a relationship, except for a family. Now, obviously, you could do the Nick Cannon thing and just have, kids everywhere. But ideally, you want to have it in a structured, crucible. But outside of that, I feel like that's what it's really for. And if you're using it for that purpose, then if you're getting married at a point where, you can't support a household, there's going to be stress on you, stress on your wife, stress on your child, coming from the bills and everything that comes from outside, that's going to cause a strain on the actual relationship. And,
Oh, finances, huh? So finally, before we close out, do you guys have any tips, based on your experience for single men or single women? Any tips that you want to leave with them based on your experience? Please do so now.
This is the part where you
As
said don't do it.
hey!
Tips: be realistic, set realistic goals, have realistic expectations.
Mm,
Understand that what you do to keep her is one of the things that you should do continuing on, to continue to make her happy. Um, don't get too complacent, and honestly, a lot of times, and communicate. What a lot of people don't understand is sometimes the things that are left unsaid speak the loudest in your relationship.
Mm.
So if your spouse is sitting here fuming at the mouth and, but she's not talking to you, that's a big indicator that you might need to take a step back and understand, like, hey, what have I done today or yesterday, or whatever the case may be? What has she told me that I forgot? That is now going to turn into this explosion. Sit down and understand. Be honest and open with your communication.
Okay, I love it. I think that's phenomenal. Tell me, Levi.
So I think for men and women, and this is again my humble opinion, I feel like since I've been married, I've gotten the opportunity to know a lot of women in a very platonic way, and I've at this point I feel like men have a problem making a choice, and from my experience, I feel like women have a problem with their choice.
Oh,
right. So, for the men to begin with, I would say, every relationship has a cost, right? If you have a good relationship, you pay that cost before the relationship. If you have a bad relationship, you pay that cost after the relationship, right? So for guys, I just feel like, it's a relationship. First, you gotta go with your purpose, that relation, right? What it is you're looking for from there. And the second part, the ship, the destination, right? I feel like a lot of guys, they're just really in limbo. They do have a certain advantage that they have more time. There's just less men. And if you're an appealing man, you probably could get a woman a lot later into your life than the woman. There's just disparities that are inherent and you can't avoid them, right? But I'd say one thing, just as much as women say that there's no good men out there, there's a lot of women that's no good too. And the older you get, the harder it is to find a good woman, right? So
Amen,
I feel
brother.
like for me, men just kind of need to make up their mind and be intentional about the choice that you want to make and choose. It's not rocket science. There's a few things that you're looking for. Once you kind of dumb it down to what you think you could work with, then you start to build, that android that you're looking for and make her your happily ever after. For women, though, I feel like it's a simple equation in my mind. I feel like a lot of women that I know, they don't like who likes them, right? So they get with all these guys, and it's kind of like, well, hey, listen, you look at the people that you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look at what they want. Are you that?
Mm-hmm.
And if you ain't that, he don't want you. Like as whatever you want to try to do to get his attention, and you can, because men would play around, and if you're giving, they'll take. But it doesn't mean that he wants you. He's tolerating you, right?
All right now.
But if you're looking, just look at the type of, when he talks, listen, try to be, attentive to the things that he's actually saying, and not the thing that you think he's saying by his actions and all these other, modes of expression that women interpret to be what they want it to be. They say people aren't looking for the truth. No, they say intent comes before content. So the woman goes in with what she kind of wants from that guy, and then it doesn't matter what he says, he kind of bends it back to what she thinks he says. The other thing is, I feel like if a woman does not like you, it doesn't take the first date, 2 weeks for her to tell you, nah, this is a dub. We're not going to do this. If you take that same approach to communicate to the guy that you actually like what you want, and if he does not reciprocate what you want, to just be like, all right, this is a dub also, you have less heartache, less problems, and you waste less time, right? So I think those are the two approaches I kind of give advice to people from me watching on the bench for so long.
Wow. Ooh, S, did you have something to say? It looks like.
Let me tell you that is so true, Levi. They said that
No.
if you take a cat and you dump out a bucket of 10 mice in front of it, he will never catch not even one mouse.
Wow.
Because he has too much choices. So he's like over there, by the time you go in over there, you see another one that's maybe a little bit fatter and juicier. So he goes over there. By the time he's almost catching that one, another one catches eye, and then he ends up with nothing.
Wow.
So
Ooh, S.
good point.
No, I agree. Fellas need to understand what they want, especially when they're at that maturity level to, and comfortable with themselves to know what they want. And the same thing is like women, like, hey, look, if a guy really just isn't into you, don't force it. It's not gonna happen. I agree. I agree with everything Levi said.
Okay, so that is
Um,
pick one.
and I'll just
And
give
girls,
my
girls want the ones that want you
You told you I got mice.
or level up. Okay.
You told you I got mice.
Yeah, I feel like
I just wanted to give my final piece of advice for guys and girls. Not anything that's esoteric to either, but the ring, marriage should be forever. If you gonna get involved in this, you probably should invest that is going to be that life cycle. So the ring is your smallest handcuff. Choose your cellmate wisely and sentence yourself accordingly.
wow.
It's a life sentence.
Wow. Okay. Man, so much knowledge, so much. Thank you guys both for being so open. I really appreciate it.